Howdy, welcome back to the shop. Still on the 99 Blazer project, and I've got the front drag link and tie rods out from underneath the truck. You know, I'm kind of going to rebuild the whole front end on this. Might as well, since we've got it all apart. So, first thing we need to talk about is the idler. Now this is your idler, and what this does is this just idles one end of the drag link. Over here is the pitman arm coming off the power steering box. And this is sitting in the truck fairly as it goes in the truck. Idler arm will sit something like this, more or less. Now, when I take these out from underneath the truck, I take them out in one piece. I just pop the pitman arm off, pop the outer tie rod ends off the knuckles, and then just take this whole thing out, usually the passenger side, because your idler's on the passenger. So, on this, number one is, if you look at an idler arm and you think maybe that might have a little bit of wear in it, it's wore out. If you can do this, that's wore out. It should not have any play at all whatsoever. It's wore out. These don't get changed very often. Pitman arms get changed even less often, but idler arms, usually people will change tie rod ends 3 times before they'll change pitman arms. So if you're in there fooling around with anything and can get to the pitman arms and the idler arms, change them. Now, the new ones aren't near as good as the factory ones. Even if you can find AC Delcos, they're not as good as the ones that came on them from the factory. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. So anyway, if you can do this, it's wore out. And on that, these tie rod ends are probably still good. I couldn't get any play out of them, and they are tight. So, but I am going to replace them anyway. So as I do this, I do one side at a time. And I always, this little link in between your inner and your outer is only like $7 if they cost that much. All these parts came from Rock Auto. I'm not affiliated with Rock Auto. I wish they'd sponsor me and give me a dump truckload of money every week, but they don't. But one of the things I do when I'm setting all of this up, and I hope that y'all can see, is I get everything put together. And I take my inner tie rod end. I want that inner tie rod end to go in like that. And I want the crack facing down. And I want the adjuster, the locking nuts, to be about in the same position as the factory one, or they were before. Then I get everything screwed together, and I kind of line up the grease zerks, something like that. And that gives you an approximation of where your toe end is going to be. Now this is going to be 3 miles out of alignment. It's going to be hard to drive the 1.5 miles down to the alignment shop, but this at least gives you a starting spot. I also just barely tighten those down enough to keep them from spinning, because I do want to be able to turn this a little bit after I get it all assembled. So, about all I've got to say about that, Janae. Let's see, pitman arm, idler arm, tie rod ends. Oh, by the way, outer tie rod end is the long one, inner tie rod end is the short one. Don't ask me why, that's just the way that they are. And you don't want to get them in there side-goggled. You want to put them back the way they came. So that about wraps this one up. Hope you all learned something. And as always, y'all drive safe, watch for deer.